And I was really amazed by this true story from a Turkish man. He was standing in his field when they approached him to ask him questions, and he was crying. And he had an amazing story to tell. And he kept on saying, I wish I had prayed, I wish I had prayed. And they asked him, the reporters, they asked him what the matter was. And he said, I'll tell you what the matter is. The matter is that when I was young, we were well off. And I was sent abroad to Europe. And I studied in the best colleges. And I remember that before I had left my country, I learned the Quran. I learned to read it well. But I never prayed. Because in my studies, I always told myself that, you've got classes, you've got studies, you've got homework. So this was the main excuse I had at the time. Later on, I went to university, again, top universities, and the main reason for me not praying was because of my studies. Then I started business, and he said I did business all over Europe, especially the last 20 years, he said, I spent in England doing business. And when I was doing business, again, the excuse for not praying Salah was that, I'm busy. I've got meetings. I've got places to go to. And I just never prayed. And it was always like, I'll pray next week. I'll start next month. I'll start next year. So he said during the last 42 years of studying and working and doing business, I accumulated quite a bit of wealth. So then, finally, I decided to move back to my home country, to Turkey. And I bought all these properties around this land that you can see. And 42 years of hard work, he said. And the sacrifices I made for it. And the ground shook for 1.5 minutes in the massive earthquake that hit Turkey. For 1.5 minutes, the ground shook, and 1.5 minutes brought all my life's hard work down. Because all the properties, the buildings that I had built, everything just collapsed. 42 years of hard work. And then he said, I was stuck under the rubble. And I couldn't even get out. And he said, a dog had to come out and look for us and pull me out of the rubble because I couldn't even do that myself. So he said, I felt so weak that a small animal had to help me get out of the rubble. And he had to free me. He said people didn't usually pray in our town. And the first thing I noticed around us was that the 18 mosques that we had in our hometown, they had collapsed. All 18 of them. It was, maybe Allah was saying, if you don't want to pray, then you might as well break them down, the mosques. And this, he said, was very heartbreaking, because I had lost every single thing that I had earned in 42 years. And I had not prayed for the property, for all of what I had gained. So I'd lost the dunya, and to gain the dunya, I'd sacrificed my hereafter. So he said, if only I had prayed. But the great thing is, he learned a lesson from it, and he vowed that he will. He will pray no matter what. He said, no matter what happens from now on, whether I'm hungry, whether I'm rich, whether I'm poor, I'm going to make sure that I pray every single salah from now onwards, because nobody can take that away from me. Even if you die, your salah goes with you. Your actions, they go with you. He said, I am a great businessman, and today I am at the mercy of other people and their charities. He said, the clothes that I'm wearing are from charity. That is what I have left, literally nothing. So, some of you might be thinking that was a one-off incident that happened in Turkey. Not everywhere will we have earthquakes. But remember, the day that you die, that is that earthquake that hit Turkey. Because the day that you die, even if the properties still exist that you earned, and all of the bank balances and everything that you worked hard for, they don't exist for you now. For you, the day you die, all of those properties and buildings, they've collapsed. They don't exist for you anymore. They are now other people's wealth. The sacrifices you made for the money and the mansions and the cars and the properties, the sacrifices you made for all those things are gone, and so is the properties. So be careful. And Alhamdulillah, this Turkish man whose story I told you, he was lucky that he learned a lesson from it. Otherwise, there are many people out there who will make excuses and say, oh, it's nothing to do with Allah and His ghadab. It's actually just the plates in the earth's crust that rub together and cause earthquakes. But Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the hidayah